if the Qs just go in the money a little bit, we're going to have a massive impact to our delta, because a little bit of an in the money move is going to put this delta over the top, and we're going to become in the money. Make sense? Interesting stuff, isn't it? Now, come over here, and I'm going to wrap this stuff up here in just a second. Come over here to this Amazon option chain, and I'm just really fast. I'm going to blow through this. I just want to show you guys at the money Amazon for September versus at the money Amazon for October. Look at the difference in the bid and the ask. $8 for October, $2.67 for at the money that expires in a couple days. Okay, look at the implied volatility. The weekly is about to run out. Much lower volatility, higher volatility for next month. Look at the delta. We've got a higher delta at the money right now, but as you go out of the money, much drastically lower deltas because the odds of getting in the money are very low. Much smoother delta curve, giving us another month worth of time. The theta, this is your time decay. We're losing 36 cents per day on the current at the money, 36 cents versus 16 cents. It's twice the time decay because we're about to expire. The vega, this is the impact of your volatility. Your implied volatility, if it goes up or down from 17.9, 1 point, will have an 11-cent impact on the price of the option. Come down here to a month out. 23% vega, or sorry, 23% implied volatility. If it goes up or down 1 point, we'll have a 31-cent impact. 3 times the impact, all because of the time relative to expiration. Gamma, the move of the delta. Delta will increase by 7.6 with a $1 move. So that delta will go from 59, it'll go up 7.6 points versus 2.1. In other words, the gamma is much higher at the money at expiration. It smooths out the further we get from expiration. You guys see that? All right. I realize that's some nerdy stuff. It went over some of your heads, and you're going to have to review it. For others of you, you're eating it up. Let's pull this into the real world. Real world here. How do I work with this? Understand, the Greeks are complicated. The good news is delta is all you need to worry about. If you just follow my rules that I'm going to give you in just a minute, you're going to get this, okay? Delta is closely tied to intrinsic value. A lot of intrinsic value is a lot of delta. Not very much intrinsic value is a much lower delta. So a lot of intrinsic value, higher delta, less intrinsic value, lower delta. Take a look at this Amazon chain. Okay, our delta for this Amazon chain at the money is 59, 88, 96. The more intrinsic value, the more delta. Less intrinsic value, lower delta. Go out 1 month, look at how the delta smooths out. You see this? At the money is 54. It just goes down to 64, 73, 81. You see how this smooths out over time. And the out of the money is a little bit smoother as well. As you get closer and closer to expiration, the delta firms up based on where it's going to be relative to, basically it's reflecting that the premium is evaporating. That's really all it's doing there. Okay, now take a look here at this, the put side here for Baidu. Look at how this works for Baidu. We're looking at puts now, okay? So at the money, 115, your delta is a 60, 93. Now these are negative numbers, but that's okay. It just means it's a put instead of a call. And look at this. You get to the 125. These are 100% delta, meaning it's going dollar for dollar. There's no premium. It's just a pure intrinsic move. Okay. Now you come down here to October and look at how much smoother your delta curve is because it's not losing money or gaining money as fast. If you're... Well, you guys can see what happens. If you're out of the money, you've got a higher delta than the ones that are about to expire. If you're in the money, you have a lower delta than the ones that are about to expire. That's what I'm trying to say. You've got a smoother delta curve. Okay? Any way you look at it, the more in the money you are, the higher your delta. The more out of the money you are, the lower your delta. Now, we can use this to build our strategies. And I'm going to do this very fast so we can get out of here without having a 5-hour class. Understanding how your option pricing moves helps you determine your option strategies to use. If you're buying options, you want your option to increase. What's the best way to get your option to increase? You want more intrinsic value. If you want to sell options, you want your option value to decrease. What's the best way to get your option premium to decrease? Less intrinsic value. So we can build our strategies around this, okay? Your rules for your strategy building should correlate with your intention for your strategies. Let me show you. Buying options. When buying options, you want the option to increase. These rules will help. And I promise you, if you follow these rules, it will make option trading so much simpler. Buy 1 or 2 strike prices in the money. You want to start in the money because if you start in the money, you have a better chance of ending in the money. And in the money is where you have real value. So start in the money, 1 or 2 strike prices. Look for a delta of 70. Now, if you go a little bit lower, that's okay because you understand that the delta will increase. But ideally, 70 is a good delta to start with. Don't trade deltas below 50 unless you want a riskier trade. Now, you can do it, and frankly, you'll have a better ROI, but you're taking a much greater risk. So you have to decide, do I want to go risk everything, or do I want to trade a little safer and make a little lower ROI? Don't trade deltas below 50. You will keep more of your money. Buy at least 4 weeks more time than you need to expiration. If you do this, premium will not decay against you nearly as bad. And then finally, look for open interest over 500. If you get open interest that's over 500, you're going to have a more liquid stock or more liquid option. These are your buying rules. Let me give you your selling rules. When selling options, you want the options to decrease, the option premium to decrease. These rules will help. Start out of the money. Don't buy intrinsic value. If you start with out of the money, your odds of ending out of the money are much higher. So start with out of the money. Sell 1 or 2 strike prices out of the money. Sell closer times to expiration. If you're only in the trade for a week, then it's a lot more likely that it's going to end at the same price and you'll end up making all of your premium that you sold. So sell closer to expiration. If you sell out several months, it's going to be a lot harder to realize all that profit. Okay? Open interest, delta, and all those things, they do not matter when you're selling options. Selling is not as big a deal. When you're buying, delta is important. Open interest is important. When you're selling, not such a big deal. All right, here's your action steps, and we're going to get through this night, I promise. Discuss this on the forums. I know that some of you, your brains are like hurting right now. This is probably the most difficult class that we're going to have because it's the boring stuff and it's a lot of numbers. And I mean, there comes a point when you just get it and it's like, oh my gosh, that makes perfect sense. But while you're learning it, this stuff will make your mind hurt. And then, of course, you're going to be tempted to go out and buy one of those big old Lawrence Macmillan books that's, 1,000 pages on options, and then your eyes will literally bleed, and then you're going to be like, I can't understand options. It's not true. You can understand options. But to do so, what you need to do is you need to follow these basic simple rules and just start working with them. Look at several option chains. Look at the numbers. Look at how they affect pricing. Buy some options in your virtual accounts. Make notes of how your Greeks are behaving. Watch how they perform relative to the Greeks. Do some numbers on your own. You'll start to see it. And once you get it, you got it. And that's the thing is you'll hit the hump. I can't tell you when it's going to happen. Depends on how much time you focus on it and how hard you really work to figure it out and how complicated you try to make it. It's really not that complicated, but I do know that I understand because I've been where you are. It seems overwhelming and it seems complicated. So the easiest thing to do is practice it and talk about it. Get on the forums, get in there with the other students, and just talk it up, and you'll be able to figure it out. You'll probably have to reference this video about 10 times, and of course, I'll reteach it next month, and you can you can retake the class next month. All right. Okay, you guys have an awesome night. I'm going to shut it down, give my voice a rest. I'm going to start my next class in 45 minutes. Some of you are going to join me for that one. For the rest of you, I will see you Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. Happy trading to all of you. Go kick some trading butt, and I will see you Monday. Good night.